It has been a good week on chain for CROCoin as the amount of this altcoin being burned is going up, the staking yield is going up, and there is a very bullish indicator on the chart, which makes it appear as if the price is likely to follow suit. You can expect to hear about all of this and more in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. Now, there are three main things I do want to cover in this video in regards to CROCoin. The first one is the record amount of burns. The second one is the staking yield, which is beginning to increase in line with the new proposal that just passed. And the final one is the price action, which has seen a very bullish indicator kind of confirm that we are set for an uptrend here, most likely anyways. So we're going to start off with the burn wallet. We are now hitting record amounts in this wallet as there is about 22 million sitting in here, about $1.9 million worth of this altcoin. And this comes after the first 50 million burn that took place in early to mid December. So this burn proposal did launch earlier last year, and this is the article here that confirms they did their first burn when it hit that 50 mil milestone. And the way this effectively works is before 100% of the CRONOS POS staking yield was going back to validators and delegators. Now 15% of that amount is actually taken and put into the community fund pool that we can actually track right here on mintscan.io. And then every 50 million CRO that ends up in this community pool wallet is sent to a burn address and removed from the float completely. So initially, they did consider two different ways of burning this CRO. The first one was a threshold triggered burn. So for example, every 25 mil or 50 mil, a burn event will be triggered. And the second one was a calendar governed burn. So basically doing it on, let's say like a quarterly basis, just burning an amount of CRO regardless of how much is in the wallet. So it appears they did go with the 50, with the threshold triggered burn idea. As it hit 50 mil, we saw the first burn take place, and we are already back about halfway to another burn. So we can assume that about 50 million CRO is going to be burned quarterly, meaning about 200 million CRO is going to be burned annually. And this was kind of the first hit that we did see to the staking yield for the CRONOS POS chain. And the second hit that we saw actually came, earlier last month, or maybe it was in mid-January or late December, where the Crypto.com team effectively took all of the CROCoin that was staked for the Visa, and they went ahead and moved that into the CRONOS POS chain. Now, the reason they did this is because on top of the cashback rewards, on top of the other things you are offered here, like the Spotify, Netflix, Amazon Prime, X, depending on your card tier, they do also offer a yield on this card, which for some reason is not disclosed on the website. But the Royal Indigo and Jade Green offer a 4% staking yield. The Frosted Rose Gold and Icy White offer 4%. And the Obsidian offers 8%, if I'm not mistaken. And you do have the potential to boost the cash back here with the Rewards Plus program. So effectively, what Crypto.com opted to do was they took this CROCoin and they began staking it on the CRONOS POS chain. This caused the staking yield to drop dramatically, and that can be reflected here in the chart. So let's take a minute for this to load, and let's take a look at the staked CRO versus the reward rate. And effectively, you can see that as the amount of staked CRO actually shot up, the yield that was being offered also shot down simultaneously, demonstrating a very clear inverse correlation between the two. And that's really just based on the fact that the more CROCoin that is being staked, the less that is being given to each individual. You're sharing your piece of the pie with more people. And that's why the yield goes down as the participation on the network, aka the staked CRO, actually goes up. Now, if we take a look at this infographic, I do want to go, here it is. Yeah, so we can see here that, at the beginning of 2023, so in April, The staking yield peaked at just under 14%, and we can see here that as Crypto.com began staking a ton of CRONOS onto the chain, that the yield dropped from, basically over 8% in December, now sitting under 6%, sitting at about 5.5%. And it's worth noting that this was actually lower a couple of weeks ago, but it appears that Crypto.com or the CRONOS team is beginning to bolster the staking yield being offered, and this is in line with a proposal that was basically drafted up in mid-January. It passed, I want to say last week or something like that. And effectively what they are doing is they are increasing the staking yield on the CRONOS POS chain by increasing the inflation rate. So prior to this proposal passing, the staking yield was the inflation rate was at 2.5%. This was raised from 2.5% up to 3.7%. So about a 60% increase there to the actual inflation rate, but that is going to be distributed to stakers. And they essentially increased the gold bonded from 30% to 60%. So if we take a look at the supply of CROCoin, CoinMarketCap has it sitting at 25 billion, as you can see right here. That's actually incorrect. The amount of CROCoin that is circulating is closer to 26.5 bill, according to the last statement from the CRONOS team. So effectively, once it passes that 30% threshold of CRONOS being staked, and we have done that with 9.334 billion CRO being locked up. Effectively what happens is let me find this here, the inflation rate goes down because the gold bonded has been set. So what they did was they increased the staking ratio or the gold bonded target from 30% to 60%, basically recalibrating the staking dynamics to ensure a fair and sustainable incentive ecosystem for all network participants. So ultimately, these modifications are intended to increase CRO emissions for validators by stabilizing the staking APR, and they did in fact increase that. So CROCoin is kind of in an interesting scenario right now where the amount of this altcoin being burned is going up, the amount of staking yield being offered is going up. And the last thing I do want to talk about is the price. Is the price going to follow suit? Now, I'm going to zoom out on CROCoin here, and we're going to take a look at this thing this is the chart on a log scale. Definitely does not look as good on a linear scale. Sorry, brain fart there for a second. But you know what? I do want to clear this chart up for a second because to me, if you're a believer in CROCoin, this looks like a pretty interesting accumulation area, right? If we kind of let's just remove the indicators and just take a look at where this coin is trading right now. It's basically in the bottomest of the range it has ever been. I know bottomest is not a word. Don't think too hard about it, okay? It is basically, in the bottom range for this altcoin, and it does look like a potential juicy buying opportunity. Now, the one indicator that I use for CROCoin, and really that I use for the majority of the market, is the bull market support band. This, to me, is kind of like my favorite indicator just for understanding long-term trends of where the general market is headed. And if we take a look at the total crypto market cap, there's a pretty clear reason for this, right? So, effectively, had you kind of bought any test of the bull market support band as support, generally speaking, that is a sign that the market is set to go higher, and selling into rejections at the bull market support band once it flips into resistance also generally has been a pretty good strategy over the long term, right? Selling at the break below the bull market support band here in April saved a lot of that downside from 1.9 trillion on the market cap down to 720 billion, and then buying again on the breakout or even on the back test of the bull market support band, or even here on that breakout at 1 trillion, it's currently up at 1.863. Effectively, had you kind of, spread out your basket and bought a bunch of the total crypto market cap coins, it would be about an 86% gain, give or take 80% from that breakout. So, over longer periods of time, the bull market support band is pretty effective, in my opinion, at kind of indicating trends. Now, in regards to CROCoin, okay, we can take a look at this, and it's kind of a perfect example of what I'm talking about. this rejection here in March or April, and then just a massive slide down from 50 cents all the way down to about 12 cents, and then yet again another rejection here at 12 cents. This was in line with the FUD that Crypto.com was potentially insolvent, going bankrupt, yada yada. Even if you kind of ignored that news, the chart didn't look good just based on that bull market support band rejection. Now, the one thing I'm noticing here is that in October of last year, CROCoin actually broke above the bull market support band. And on that breakout, it made a very fast, 2x, over a 2x, from 5.5 cents up to about 12.5 cents. And now it is in fact back below the 10-cent area of support. However, it has successfully retested the bull market support band as an area of support, which, as we said, historically speaking, has been a pretty good look for the general market and for CROCoin especially, right? The last time we actually bounced off the bull market support band was back here at about 15 cents, and that was before the crazy run this coin went on to about 96 cents USD. So definitely keeping my eye on CROCoin and watching to see if it is able to break above 10 cents here and validate this bull market support band backtest. And on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. You know what to do. If you made it all the way to the end, you are an absolute champion. Let me know in the YouTube comments down below and claim that champion status. I am wishing you all an amazing weekend ahead. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.